Thank you for, I forgot we were doing so much. Thank you for joining us for AHA. Whoa, where are you? There you are. I forgot to do this. We were having such a good time. Okay, back again. Welcome yet again. We could just keep welcoming each other. Hi, to a human among humans. And tonight I wanted to talk about words, stories, sounds, really. In the beginning of the Bible, as you all remember, wonderful Bible students, is in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, or the more truthful translation would be the skies and the earth. Hebrew, it's Shemayim. And amazingly, speaking of words, in the Hebrew, it's Bereshit bara Elohim. In the beginning, create Elohim, which is a plural word in Hebrew. This one God is a community. If you want to talk about arms, Reglayim, hands, Yadayim, Elohim in Hebrew means judges and gods as well as God. How interesting, maybe wise, provocative. The great writer of Genesis, who people consider as to be inspired by God, has in the beginning creates Elohim at Shemayim v'et ha'or. Shemayim, you can hear the Shemayim, skies or heavens, really skies, literally, and the earth. Every morning I go out my rooftop and I say something like, if I can remember, earth, sky. You can feel the earth and the sky, and the earth used to be considered our mother, Mother Earth. Earth, sky, goddess, God be with us. Yes, and it's not just a thought, it's about words. I can feel underneath the tar that Jeff Murray helped us get on our rooftop. Underneath the tar, if it's called tar, whatever, it's very nice. I can feel the support of the roof, and ultimately, I don't think I can feel this, the ground. Earth and the sky, it's easy to feel. It has such beautiful weather in Cambridge. Earth, sky, be with us. As I leave you. So earth, sky, be with us. Now, to what degree can words, remember, My Fair Lady? Words, words, words. I'm so sick of words. Don't talk of love, swirling about. Don't talk at all. Show me. So words can do us in. Maybe all of us, yes? It's easy to be done in by words. Have you been done in by words today? Has your life been done in by words? Even wonderful words. When I am a Quaker, a member of the Quaker meeting. It's a wonderful community at 5 Longfellow Park. And the Quakers, it really changed my life. I'm a high school student, and Mrs. Harkness does what I think maybe teachers wouldn't be allowed to do now. She takes the class on a weekend trip to Pendle Hill in Pennsylvania. It's a Quaker retreat center. And there I learned for the first time, very strange, we're sitting on these wooden benches in this very sparse room, no pictures. It's actually very beautiful. I went to the American Heritage Museum and saw the beautiful gowns of the president's wives, and then the way the Quakers were dressed. And the Quakers were way more beautiful in their simplicity. It's a gift to be, their song, yes? It's a gift to be simple. It's a gift to be free. It's a gift to come down where you ought to be. And when you come down to the place just right, you will be in the valley of love and delight. That sounds true, right? To come down to where we are. It's taken a long trip for me, almost 73 years, to maybe begin to be the needy me I am at times. Men were taught we shouldn't be needy, shouldn't be in touch with our feelings, just chin up. Well, if I can remember the thread of this, I go to Quaker meeting in Pendle Hill with Mrs. Harkness and our class, one of the only lovely weekends, certainly in high school, maybe my young life, and we're taught, not explicitly taught, but encouraged to just be quiet and feel if the Spirit moves in us to get up and speak or learn to listen. The old song, walk when the Spirit says walk, talk when the Spirit says talk. So these are beautiful words. And I eventually become a Quaker when I go to the University of Chicago to be with these wonderful people who helped me discover that underneath my high school personality, my life's personality, there are other words inside. How freeing. And I try to begin to speak those words. When I go out with someone, Gracia Faye Bauman, I'm really, really, really scared. More scared than I'm allow myself to feel, because I am a young man. Don't know what to do. And I hear a voice inside say, hold her hand. And I hold it. If I was really brave, I wasn't, I would say, I just heard from the Spirit inside to hold her. She might not have liked that. Might have been happier to know that I wanted to hold her hand, which I did, but I couldn't get in touch with that basic desire. I had to be told my desire, and it climbs up my body into my mind and then comes out to me, hold her hand, as a command. So it was too hard to feel desires. There were very many of them, and they would have been somewhat chaotic to entertain. So why not just shut them off and just hear them come as a word? But that's an example of how beautiful words of the Quakers could trick me. Not intentionally, they were extremely helpful. But I eventually had to see, oh my, these words that I'm hearing that are coming as if from afar to me are really my desires, what I want and need. So that's one way that words, these wonderful words, because I've lost the power of speaking very well since my beloved left in July. I've really been worse since, so I can understand how nice it is to speak words. Sometimes I can't speak at all. I have to go very close to someone and get close to their ear. So words are a very beautiful thing, but very tricky. What a dangerous revolutionary invention. Some people believe that an earlier species akin to Homo sapiens communicated with sound feelings. Well, I would imagine, yes, right? Like dogs, cats. And in certain ways, there's something beautiful about it. You can feel the emotion in it, the energy in it. So if we just say, in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth, and think that's communication, that might be very emaciated. If you sang it, as the Hebrews sing, Bereshit bara Elohim, that might be begin, and maybe start moving, or that might do it, help, or song. That might help. But again, the word, I mean, if you translate the word, you translate Elohim to mean God and forget that there's a plural in there, that there's many gods, may be one interpretation, acting as a community. And it's, the hints are there. Let us make humanity in our image, male and female. So it sounds like either God is bi, or there's more, or has a partner. Eventually in the Bible, we discover in Proverbs, in case you missed it, that there's a female being named Chochmah. In Greek, Sophia. In English, wisdom. But wisdom can sound abstract. This was a real feminine being, and who says in the Hebrew Bible, I was there at the creation of the universe, and I worked with Yahweh, and we had a great time, and we had joy in all we were creating. What a difference from original sin. Joy. So although words are dangerous, words can correct the danger and go back to who was the Elohim. So that should be very comforting. So I'm not without biblical foundation when I say earth, sky, goddess, God be with us. That could be the Elohim. It could be Chochmah and Yahweh, whatever those words mean. Like Yahweh for Moses, not in the first book. The Bible keeps rewriting itself. Yahweh could mean, in Hebrew, Ehyeh is I will be. I will be who I will be. What's your name, says Moses. Remember, he's standing in front of a burning bush, the light of it. Have you felt that in the trees, on Cambridge streets, right? The light, the hues coming out of the trees. They were always there, hidden by the green. Talk about hiding. Even beautiful green trees, there's so much there, the same as in words. So Moses hears, like I heard, hold her hand. Moses hears, go back to Egypt and free your people. He'd been working as a shepherd for 40 years. He might have missed both his people and Egypt. And he doesn't want to go. No fool Moses. And he says, who shall I say sent me? And he hears this very cryptic, Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh, I will be who I will be, sometimes translated as I am. And it's some, because the Hebrew is some kind of new creation of I was, am, will be. Sometimes it's translating as I'm becoming who I'm becoming. And these are hugely different meanings. Talk about the power of words. Maybe we could go back to those brothers and sisters of ours rather than and maybe wouldn't even pretend to have, but that of course has many meanings too. Could mean all kinds of things. Maybe we have to learn to be very sensitive, maybe the way animals are. There's the different ways the sounds are said. Well, this was just a beginning of the power of words and the danger of words. So the beautiful Quaker belief, at least when I went more regularly, now go to just artists and writers meeting there, but the beautiful Quaker belief that there's a spirit moving in us and can speak to us and an inner light in us. These are words, of course, but you can feel it. See the light in the trees. If there's light in the trees, there's light in us. Well, our cells are made of, right, our cells are little furnaces, right? They're cooking away, little ovens, little heat and light, all of us. So if we were in touch with ourselves, we could feel the light and the fire that is us. I mean, we're made out of exploding supernova. Welcome to the firelight in all of us. I have a friend who meditates and can, I would imagine, doesn't talk too much about it, but he can see the sound and light show, or hear and see the sound and light show we are. And we are. And that too can be tricky, right? If you stop there. We're telling him that, so even experiences, let alone words, but certainly the words describing the, we have a sound and light show inside. Some might call it an experience of divinity, which would be very, wonderful and true, I'm sure. The Quakers talk about the inner light that's in us, and the sound, to hear the Spirit speak to us. But they didn't emphasize the body. Just the word spirit rather than the body spirit. So here, even here, the slight change, the huge change, by just calling it the spirit and not our body spirit, and limiting it to the word rather than the feelings that are inside, is both a great gift. I still love being a Quaker. And they would quake then. They would know about the bodies. The Quakers then would quake. Shakers and Quakers. We don't do that. I haven't seen it much lately. But at the beginning it was, so the body was at least in there. It wasn't quite in the words. I don't know. I just heard that the chanting in the early churches, the chanting of the Gregorian chants came from the Hebrew davening. Why is this night different from all other nights? And this davening led to the beginning of church music, which eventually became the classical music, and then the modern music we all love. So I hope it's been clear. Just to sum up, I once was more of a teacher than I am now. To sum up, so words, beautiful words, can trap us. Listen to the Spirit within. All true, but just partially true. There's a short story by Sherwood Anderson. Actually a nasty short story. But he wonders why the people he meets in his life seem so misshapen. And he comes to the conclusion that that in the beginning there was an immense amount of truths in the world. And there are, right? Truth of love, of beauty. There's a truth of war. Sometimes you need to fight for what you want. Truth of peace. Sometimes you just, we'll just go with the flow. A truth of love, of I want you, which is a great compliment. A truth of, okay, I'll respect where you are. There's all these truths. Peace, war, love, sometimes the truth of hate. I mean, we can maybe hate that our country is killing innocent people with these drone attacks. And other things that are putting whistleblowers and people who are trying to make a better world, like Bradley Manning. His name was Bradley Manning. It's a new name. It's a woman. Forget it. It's for Chelsea Manning, yes. Maybe named after Clinton's daughter. Edward Snowden and others. Ex-CIA agent whose name escapes me is in jail for 3 years for revealing that indeed under the Bush administration, people within the CIA were torturing people. Go to jail for this. So the beautiful words, you say the wrong words, you get in big trouble. The beautiful words, walk when the Spirit says walk, talk when the Spirit says talk, an inner light in us, forgetting, because there's truths, all these beautiful truths are around. And if you just take some and grab them saying, the truth is the Spirit, the truth is the inner light, the truth is the voice that comes through me. Those are all true at times. But sometimes it's good to get in touch with our desires. Talk with our community of friends to find out what we really ought to do. There's a truth of the body that the Quakers, at least when I was going every week, we didn't emphasize. Although the Quakers did quake. So both the danger of words and the beauty of words and the power of words, but be careful of the power. When Elohim is translated as God and we lose the plural in the word Elohim, and we can fight. Our God is the one and only God. Even if there's three of them, they're the one and only three gods. And look what horrors those words have brought us. So is there something we can do? Because words are so powerful? Plato wrote in one of his dialogues, the Phaedrus, how he wrote this, however, that words are going to do us in. Because we're not going to need our memories anymore. And for Plato, memory was crucial. Memory would help. Memory lets us know where we came from. And if we really came from the stars, and the harmony, even amidst all the chaos in the heavens, the harmony in the heavens, the beauty in the heavens, the truth of that harmony and beauty, if that's where we really came from, and we forget that, reading books, even reading about it, and forget that it's to really live in it, then Plato said, wow, then you've lost really what's the most important thing in the world. And then just because of this revolutionary introduction of books, and he tried to counter that, because that was the new technology, by having writing in dialogue, so people were talking to one another. So you wouldn't have a truth, at least in his better moments, you wouldn't have a truth you would hold on to, like the people in Sherwood Anderson's story that grabbed a truth. Have you grabbed the truth lately? Are you living with certain limiting truths? Are you open to the exploration? One great Catholic writer, Gabriel Marcel, wrote a book called The Mystery of Being. I read it in college, not understanding too much about it, but it's ultimately a mystery. Why is it that we can't understand where we came from, or where God came from? It's because wherever God came from, we can say, where did that come from? We're basically built to understand that we in the universe are a mystery. And so to live in the mystery, people used to be called mystics if they lived in the mystery. To live in the mystery means ultimately, as Socrates said, I don't know. He was told he was the wisest man in Greece. He went to the oracle, he said, how could that be? I don't know anything. And they gave him homework. Could be homework for us. Go around and ask people what they know. And he discovered farmers knew all kinds of good stuff, but then they thought they knew more about government and marriage and love, and they didn't. And other people didn't know really even as much as farmers, and thought they knew way more than they knew. And so he realized, oh my, I guess I'm the wisest man in ancient Greece because I know that I don't know. Of course, he tells the story, a little irony, who knows if it really happened, but a great gift to us to keep the exploration going. Have you grabbed a few truths and you think you have the truth? Are you open to it always being a mystery? Of course, we can learn many important things on the journey. Maybe I think I still believe Plato in a different way that I did when I was younger, that ultimately we are created by this mysterious harmony and beauty and truth and justice of the cosmos. And it is a mystery, even if it's also a God. Why not? It's so mysterious. I mean, who could even fathom how extraordinary it is? So, only have 2 more minutes. So, and words are always recreating words, just like we said in the Hebrew Bible. Although you might have thought in the beginning it was one God who created the heavens and earth, Proverbs said, oh no, it was Chachma too. Or the New Testament, John, wrestling with this, says, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God and was God. This is in Greek, of course, so it's very different. And even then, the word in Greek is logos. In the beginning was the Logos. And that might not be a great translation, just word. Maybe one translation, be careful. And Logos is order. The opposite of chaos. Cosmos or Logos. Some ordering principle. So that was very closer to Plato. That was in the beginning. And a human, we were there, according to John. How's that for? Not only Sophia, Chachma, or wisdom, but humanity was there. The Word was with God, the Logos, and we're all part of this Logos. And as Joshua said, I have to leave you with this, greater things will be done by my students than I, or Jesus, as some know him by. And so we're all there in the beginning, in the mysterious beginning. Thanks for joining us on our journey. See you next week.